left his picture. All right. Hey, everybody, it's Dale Jr. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Ask Junior portion of the podcast, the Dale Jr. Download. We appreciate your support. We had Randy LaJoy and Corey LaJoy come in and sit down and talk to us, and we got a lot of great stuff from both those guys. Corey coming off a great run at Daytona. Pretty good conversation, wouldn't you say, Mike?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Those two characters together are amazing.
Anyhow, yeah, so this is Ask Junior Part. Let's get started. Leah?
Our first question coming from David Solomon. What are your thoughts on McDowell and his team's ability to be competitive at other tracks this year? Will we see the underdog throw a wrench into the chase?
Well, he already has. You know, he's gobbled up a very critical and important position in the playoffs. They'll more than likely easily be able to maintain their position inside the top 30 in points. And so he'll get to enjoy all the things that come along with making the playoffs personally as a driver, and the team will be able to enjoy that as well. They go to the racetrack. They got that win sticker on that car every single week. Those things are hard to come by, and they're a very big source of pride. That could put a little pep in the step of that team and carry them quite a ways into the season. I'm not sure how it affects their performance going forward. They have improved, you know, and I think that we've seen, especially when we went to this package with the high downforce, low power, that team started qualifying better and racing better. And so, you know, I don't know what their ceiling is, I guess. So it's hard to say where what the end game is for front row, but I like what Denny said on social media. It's not a fluke. Michael's been, you know, Michael was in a lot of people's Fantasy 5 lineup. We have this league that we play with NBC and a bunch of fans, and there's several thousand people in it. And Rick Allen had out of like 5,000, 8,000 people that are in this fantasy league, you know, you can pick any 5 drivers you want in your lineup. And Rick Allen was 13th overall. And he had McDowell in his lineup. And I bet McDowell was in several people's lineups because he does really well at Daytona and Talladega and putting himself in position to finish well at those races. So pretty impressive. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Seems to be really, really well liked across the garage and really respected. Next question.
Next question coming from Sean Berg. Do you think NASCAR needs to make a greater effort to start the races earlier in the day at some tracks to reduce chances of weather delays?
Yeah.
That's a hot topic on social this week.
It should be. You know, I love the nostalgia as a, you know, thinking back of when I was a, you know, kid watching races. You would go to church and then you would hustle home. You had to hurry out of church to get home to be able to see the start of the race. And that, for me, they just went hand in hand. Going to church, watch the race. That was your Sunday. You know, people have routines and things that they remember from in their life and things that just go together. And that was you know, that was the way that's what I remember from my childhood and being such a huge, you know, racing being such a huge part of my life. I remember that, you know, that happened right after church. And so I miss that, you know, and the networks feel like that they can get a better number putting these races at different times, and they intend to try to give the West Coast audience as much as an opportunity to see the race as the East Coast audience, and the numbers that they have and the information that they have and the data that they have tells them that this is the best time to start these races. So I understand what that argument's all about. But I also like the continuity of a start time that's consistent across the board for every single race. You know, like, and I don't know everything about this. Like, I'm not an expert, but I do know one thing as a fan of Washington football team since 1982. I do know over the last several years there's a 1 o'clock and there's a 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
there's a 1 o'clock and there's a 4 o'clock every Sunday. Every Sunday, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And it makes it so easy to tune in. Yeah. And so I wish we had that continuity of, when NASCAR is? Yes. Starts at noon. That's every week. Or 1 o'clock, whatever it is, But we have 2 o'clock starts, 3 o'clock starts, 4 o'clock starts, 7 p.m. starts, 8 p.m. start. We're just all over the place. And it's hard for me. I don't know when the race starts next weekend.
Oh, yeah. No.
Got a clue.
No idea.
No clue. I couldn't tell you the start time for any race on the schedule. I just got to wait till that day.
Look for a tuning graphic.
or it's either on my itinerary if I'm broadcasting the race. It would be nice if it was just obvious in our brain that, just like you have as an example using the NFL, the 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I mean, if we just knew that NASCAR races start at 1, who doesn't know that, right? Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
All right, next question coming from Jordan Buster. What new ideas would you like to see out of the Darlington throwback race? Mine would have to be the broadcast network to use a classic graphic display package from the years past. I wish we did that every week. Not just the throwback race. I've tried to figure out a way for us. If you watch, and Fox did this for the starting lineup for the Clash. I know. I'm not quite sure if they use the same style for the Daytona 500. I think they might have, but for the Clash, they had the drivers' names across the bottom of the screen for each row, the inside and the outside of row 1, the inside and outside of row 2, and they had a little music in the background. And they just talked about from this hometown, this driver. And it really, I try to work the hometowns in there whenever I can when we're doing lineups or cameras, in-car cameras and stuff, because it puts that driver in a location, right? And maybe you're from that area, and you're going, oh, I didn't know that guy that's my guy, right? And so it really humanizes the drivers when you're like, hey, he's from this town, this small town in this state. It makes them real people, right? So anyhow, I think for the Clash, Fox did that where they had each row pop up on the screen and had a little music in the background, and they kind of gave the announcers a little time to say something about each driver. And we do maybe the top 10, and then we start talking about something else while you're left to read the lineup on the screen if you want. We might pick out a handful of guys, a half dozen or a dozen guys out of the lineup that we might say, I like this guy, or I think this guy's going to have a good day. But I wish we did it in a more traditional sense of row 1, you got this guy and this guy. Or row 2, you got this guy and this guy, with a little bit of some hype music in the background.
Who saw the video over the week of Chris Economaki doing the Field of the Busch Clash on pit road, talking to each one as they were climbing in? Did you see this video?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you probably saw it when it really happened.
Oh, yeah.
Too. But I was like, wow, first of all, how talented is he? Second of all, hilarious. Third, how awesome is that to introduce our lineup that way? Like, hey, we've got Jeff Bodine here. Ready, Jeff? Yes, sir. All right. And he's moving. Yeah. If your answer was longer, boy, you get left. Economaki was moving. It was like whatever that grid walk thing is, but without the.
It's not like that.
I was going to say without.
Do not compare them.
Without the circus act.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you, Mike. That opportunity to do the lineup, I miss it.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Next question. We could talk about throwback weekend all day.
Next question coming from Lee Loggins. I know you're a collector of vintage NASCAR T-shirts. What would be your holy grail of T-shirts?
Oh, man, I don't know. That is tough. Yeah. I think, Dad had these shirts made in the 70s that had his late model or his little Sportsman Nova. I remade a batch of those, maybe about 100, 150 of them to give to some friends. But I don't have an original. I think I got the one that I used to make my fake ones was one I borrowed from my Uncle Randy. He had a child's size still in his possession, an original, and I took it and used that imagery to sort of make these shirts. But I've never seen it's just Dad's white number 8 Nova, and it has Dad's name and kind of this old 70 bubbly font. It's really, really cool. So anything of Dad's that's going to be pre-1984, like anything after 84, there's a lot of that out there. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. But anything like Bud Moore, 1981, 1980, 79, there's only a few of those out there, if any.
All right, guys. That's it for today.
Man, those are some great questions. I thought that was way better than last week. I didn't think Ask Junior was good last week.
I don't remember that being. I didn't remember that being so awful.
I'm critical, man.
Well,
I'm hard.
yeah, I guess
I'm hard on us. Anyhow, hey,
Glad you're happy this week.
Great job. Great job, Leah.
Great job to everybody.
Great job for everybody. That's exactly right. Thanks for thanks for all the great questions. I just got a text from Corey LaJoy. Appreciate being on the show. You guys are going to enjoy the conversation. Corey's just such a great guy, and he's got some more insight. We had Eddie Dickerson, Jeff Dickerson. I'm sorry, on the podcast last year, who's one of the owners in Spire. A lot of people are curious about Spire and their business model, and where they're headed. And Corey opens up a little bit about that. So just a great show. Hope you guys will tune in. It'll be out later today.
Yeah, probably. I think Schultz said he's going to get it out by 5 o'clock tonight.
5 o'clock. Again, we really can't thank you guys enough for the support y'all give us. And it really makes it fun to come in here and put this content together for y'all. And so have a great week.